I built over 50 apps and countless features over the past year or so. And I realized that the models have gotten so good that if you're not getting what you want out of the tools that you're using, most likely it is because you're not clear in what you're actually asking it. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can be as precise and concise in the way that you speak to those tools to get the best possible outcome. My name is Harry. I lead design at one of Europe's biggest education companies with over 20 million users. And in my free time, apart from YouTube, I love building apps on the side and talking about it and learning about it. So if that resonates with you, stick around and I'll show you exactly how I go about it. In the last video, we did a bit of prep work. We now have the problem statement. We know what our objective is and all of those things. What it did is to just copy that, and I'll give that as context to Claude. We'll get back to Claude Code down the line, but for the moment, you can just picture it as basically being like ChatGPT. What I'm now going to be asking Claude is, help me write the perfect prompt for Cursor to build a super simple website app in HTML and CSS. Below some additional details that you might find useful. Ask me if anything is unclear. What I then do is just add the images as well as additional context. Context is the most important part to get the best possible result of those tools. And here in plan mode, we'll get back to this down the line once we jump into Claude Code. But what it does is that basically it allows or encourages Claude to ask follow-up questions in case something is unclear. So for instance, in this case, some of the screenshots from the competitors had a very simple design with just numbers. Some had a more evolved design with minutes and hours. I'm expecting it to actually have a couple of questions, and indeed this is what you see here. I have a few questions to help craft the perfect one. Okay, cool. So style. So let's look into the questions that it has. The mood board shows a retro aesthetic, but the timer looks more minimal and modern. I prefer the retro one. How should users select the timer duration? I would say preset buttons work just fine for the beginning. Timer end, what should happen? For the moment, I'd say visual only to keep it simple. Now it should have all of the information that it needs to write a great, perfect prompt for Lovable or Figma Make or any other tool. There's plenty that you'd want to use. But this is basically the most important part. It is the raw ingredients to what you'll build down the line. And if you get this right, then a lot of things will be easier down the line. Okay, this will take a couple of seconds. Oh, in this case, it actually had some additional feedback. Should it be a single HTML file or separate files? Okay, I think it wants to build it itself. What I want is actually something else. Since we want to build it first in Figma Make, I'll tell it, give me a simple text that I can just copy paste into an AI builder of my choice. Then it should be fine. In terms of typography, by the way, typography is something that's undervalued, but is really something that can give your app a very distinct and personal feel. But for this case, I'll start with system fonts because it's easier. Let's do that, submit. It should do another round of thinking. It's kind of like talking to a colleague on Slack. So like talking to an intern that's new to the company. You have to provide that intern with the right context. You cannot assume that it knows everything that you know. Everything that's in your mind, it couldn't possibly know. So it's important to be very good in communicating what you want. And in this case, yes, let's proceed. I'll have a look, but it starts with build a simple countdown timer using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The design style, the color palette, the timer display, which is the core of the app, how to select durations, the controls, which is something I didn't even specifically specify, but it saw in some of the images and just assumed the rest. It's a very smart intern. What happens upon completion, some constraints, and that's it. Cool, perfect. Then this is basically what I'll be able to copy paste. And the copy pasting part, we'll do it at the beginning at Figma Make, and I'll actually use this very same prompt across all the different tools, which we'll try out across this series. I'll see you in the next one.